So, Spider-Man 2. Personally, my thoughts on this game, I'm very mixed on it. I'm gonna just sum it all up in very fewer words than I normally would. Personally, I think the perspective when it comes to this game is very disingenuous, for lack of a better term. And I say that because when it comes to the criticism of this game, I feel like a lot of people are just afraid to criticize this game. You know, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, if you hate this game, you're just trying to be different. It's just like, at the end of the day, this game franchise is great and all, but it has a lot of flaws. And I think personally, the message of this entire game is just, it kind of missed the plot a lot of the time, especially when it comes to Peter Parker's story role. Like, I think most of the things that are done with Peter's character is fine. I think the direction they went with him is the problem. The problem I'm speaking of is mainly, of course, the very controversial take as far as like having Peter shove his great responsibility onto Miles instead of becoming a unified front in the protection of New York with two Spider-Man. It becomes Peter just becoming really tired and needing a mental health break from his responsibility that he has taken upon himself as a hero to do. And my problem with this is, like, a lot of characters in recent years have become just lazy when it comes to their responsibilities as heroes. They just want to give it to someone else when they're just tired of doing it. And which is well and good and fine once they're like older, sure. But a lot of the time it's done just to pander to a, let's say, woke audience. I know people are very allergic to that word nowadays, but I personally could give less of a rat's ass, or in this case, a spider's web. Because in my opinion, I just feel as though the story that is so shoved down our throats when it comes to this game specifically is balance. And how Peter Parker needs to find balance, and how Miles needs to find balance with his schooling life and his superheroics. And how Peter basically needs to find the same balance with his career paths and, of course, being Spider-Man. And I think for the most part, they do a terrible job representing the fact that you can have the balance with multiple Spider-Man. And I think the writers literally forgot because they were too busy trying to pander to whatever audience they're trying to pander to. Especially in this game, there's a lot more focus on diversity when it comes to the side missions. There's a lot more focus when it comes to pandering to a lot of quote-unquote underrepresented groups, even though in modern media, we get so much spoon-fed representation when it comes to everyone nowadays, to where it being called underrepresented is literally just unnecessary and honestly just disingenuous. So again, my problem, it just solely lies in the fact that Peter needs to find balance. And I think when it comes to that aspect of the story, I think Miles Morales, the game, it did a better job of conveying the balance that is needed when it comes to two Spider-Men working together and being equals. I think it does a better job conveying that than this game does. I think this game regresses that story arc for Miles and Peter, and just for the sake of, oh, propping up Miles with the worst suit of all history, by the way. That suit is ass, I don't care. The haircut, whack. The suit, whack. He literally looks like he's wearing an Adidas shoe. Oh, that was the point, Nakari. I don't care, that shit is ass.
Yo, shut your racist ass up. You just hating because he's swagging.
I already know a lot of people are going to call me a racist. They're going to call me so many names for not liking their direction with Miles. And honestly, again, I don't care. The people who say that are the biggest racists I've ever seen. I'm not going to lie to you, because everything has to be about, you know, race with these people. And I personally could care less about a couple people crying at the fact that I don't like Peter Parker. Like, when it comes to Miles' stories in the comics and in the games, he literally just has recycled Peter's stories. I.e., he wants a Clone Saga, he gets a Clone Saga. He gets a No More, he gets a No More. You know, at the end of the day, a lot of it is just copy and paste when it comes to what Miles has. Oh, you have a Spider-Verse? Oh, well, Miles gets a Spider-Verse. Like, literally, evil clone. Again, repeat and rinse, or in reverse, rinse and repeat. And it's just weird to me how no one sees that. Even with the What If comics, it is literally the biggest example, and it's so ironic that it's just race swapping Miles with other characters, because Miles is nothing. You strip away the spider bite, you strip away the spider powers and the electrical powers. Who is Miles? He's nothing but a carbon copy of Peter, just with a new coat of paint. And I don't really enjoy that story arc for Miles. I just don't. If you want him to be his own thing, he could have been his own Prowler, and to reshape the mantle of Prowler from a villain to a hero. I would have think that was a better legacy than him just becoming Black Spider-Man, personally, in my opinion. It just makes no sense to me. They even give him a symbiote saga in the comics recently. And again, just adding more credence to my point that he's just a carbon copy of Peter, just without the clone shit. You know, and it's just so weird to me how no one ever notices that. Again, the main point is balance. And I think that point is just washed away just for the sake of pandering to a minority of people who personally could give less of a shit and just want to see Black Spider-Man. I remember, and I'm going to cut this video off at this point, I had a conversation with a friend recently about Spider-Man and Miles. He was like, why don't you like Miles? And I said that he's not relatable to me. Just because he's black, it doesn't mean I have to relate to him. I relate more with Peter and the struggles and trials that he has gone through. Like, for the most part, Miles is just a perfect person. He has no real struggles. Oh, he doesn't have to struggle with a dual identity with the people he cares for because they're accepting of it immediately. Something that takes Peter his entire life pretty much to find that balance. When it comes to him having just all these type of advantages over Peter and over his life, oh, he has more powers, he has more advantages, he's smart, and he's more well off as far as like his life overall than Peter as a grown-ass man. And I think that's my problem. They spend so much time painting Miles in every continuity as the perfect guy, and they don't give him really any flaws. And I can't relate to a character that has basically no flaws, who's ultra powerful and even had 2 symbiotes. Yeah, get that? Not just 1, but 2 symbiotes. And I just can't relate to this guy. And that's just my thoughts on it. I know a lot of people are going to be mad. I don't care. Like, comment, share, subscribe to all the good stuff. Let me know yours in the comments below.